Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily NVIDIA report for Monday, March 17th, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. Which do I want to start with? I'll start with this one. This is the weekly chart. We'd mentioned how you could anticipate this. This is a month ago or so, as we are testing this channel resistance at 136.85, roughly there. Yes, it's not the exact same formation, but it is so close. It's great for illustration purposes. We had mentioned selling the upper 130s, low 140s a month ago, and mentioning at the time we tested the channel top that you can anticipate bearish rotation over the following 3 to 5 weeks to even longer term support that is now at 108.33 on the weekly chart that you can see right here. Now on the daily chart, that same formation comes in at 107.87, which you can see here. So this is the same exact representation, but on the daily chart, holding above 107.87, we are now anticipating upward rotation over the next 3 to 5 weeks into the upper 130s. On the daily chart, they come in at 137.18 to 137.97. This area, if you're long, you're waiting for it. 3 to 5 week swing traders holding out for then, not only exiting your long positions, but perhaps even reversing and playing the short side back into the 107, 108 handles. We could continue to fill this area out for a month or two before the market presumably tips its hand to the upside. And I say upside because 107.87 is, or 108.33 in the weekly chart, is a much longer term structure than this more near to midterm 136.85 on the weekly chart. And if that were to occur, then we should see, well, this is a weekly chart once again. I would anticipate within 3 to 5 months or less, the 176.90 long-term channel top that we find on the weekly chart. That is a one-year structure that could contain buying on a quarterly, possibly annual basis. And I do think 176.90 should not be discounted as a longer-term possibility, holding above 108.33. It's just that in terms of clarifying a meaningful rally into the 170s, that would come with a settlement above 136.85 on the weekly chart, or as I showed here earlier, on the daily chart at 137.97. Now downside, and I'll just mention that as a weekly settlement below 108.33 by a full 1% margin, mind you, that would set off a secondary sell signal or a sell signal over the next month or two, depending on volatility, to 77.44, which is a 2-year channel bottom that may well contain selling through the rest of the year with respect to NVIDIA. If we were to close below 77.44 in the months ahead, does not at all look pretty for NVIDIA, but I am not expecting that. In fact, I'm not expecting 77.44 unless we close below 108.33. So let's take a look at kind of the daily chart here. I'll jump into this one. We did on Friday open just above that 117.80 descending 1/3 speed line, contain the lows roughly. I know we slipped below it a bit, but we did open just above it. And so it did hold for all intents and purposes. 123.24, now an intraday resistance level only. I mean, earlier last week, that was our session containment level. But the way we see this now, coming off of long-term support, we're beginning to pull away. 117.80 is your support for the day, above which 3 to 5 day swing traders can now anticipate 128.95, and that is a 50% upside retracement. 123.24 is a 3/8 upside Fibonacci, 38.2% from the January high against that more recent low from early last week. 128.95 is a 50%. 123.24 can contain intraday buying pressures, and for the day itself, we could find ourselves spending a fair amount of time between 117.80 and 123.24. You can play both sides of the market there, aggressive day traders. Pushing through or perhaps opening above 123.24 does set up a possible 128.95 day objective. And so 128.95, though, I think a realistic 3 to 5 day target above 117.80. 128.95 able to contain daily highs, And we'll see how the week plays out. We may see other things lining up here. It may actually contain buying through the rest of the week. After all, the upper 130s remain a 3 to 5 week objective, so it may not be straight up. There could be a fair amount of give and take on the way up before eventually testing this descending resistance. But I will say, if over the next few days we were to close above 128.95, then we have a 3 to 5 day buy signal to 137.97, which is once again our 3 to 5 week objective above 107.87, where we could top out possibly through April and fall away again. That covers the upside pretty well. The downside can also be expressed on this chart, and that is to say that if we were to break or open below 117.80 today, 112.23 is in reach, and that is your pivot to the downside. Breaking or opening below 117.80, 112.23 in reach today, and if we close today below 117.80, I do see that 107.87 level likely to be tested again by the end of the week is quite possible. So 117.80 is our pivot point into later week, above which, once again, we're expecting 123.24 today, 128.95 by the end of next week, or end of this week, I'm sorry. And if we close today below 117.80, good high for the week, 107.87 in reach again by Friday's close, where we can bottom out through April trade, and above which the upper 130s are likely over the next 3 to 5 weeks. Finally, what I'm going to say now is a repeat of what I just said, which is if we close below that 107.87 level or 108.33 on the weekly chart, we enter a significant sell signal really through the month of April, 77.44 likely. I do want to mention that wickedstocks.com put out 2 stock picks last week, as we do every week, and that was on Home Depot and on Alphabet Incorporated, the old Google, both of which are approaching significant tradable levels for both near-term and longer-term position traders. We put out 2 a week. Check it out at wickedstocks.com. Take advantage of our 5-day free trial. You'll also get weekly Apple stock, daily Triple Q, daily SPY analysis, etc., etc. I will be back tomorrow, of course, with Tuesday's NVIDIA. You have a great day.